The difference between a lazy Airbnb host and a pro Airbnb host can be thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars per year. And let me walk you through the 5 key factors or criteria that differentiate a lazy from a pro host. As a professional Airbnb host, I will make over $1 million in 2023 on just 7 properties. And the difference between a lazy host and a pro host can be thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars per year per property. And I'm gonna walk you through the difference between a lazy and a pro host and the 5 key criteria that you need to focus on if you wanna become a pro host. Number 1 is photography. And this is what keeps you from getting bookings as a lazy host to getting a lot of bookings and ranking higher in Airbnb search results as a pro host. Lazy hosts will tend to use a home camera or their iPhone. And while the photo quality on an iPhone nowadays is not bad, it does not compare to the quality you're gonna get by hiring a professional photographer who is also going to professionally edit your photos. Lousy photos will make a great property look lousy, and then professional photos will make an average property look great. The reason photos are so important is because we live in a digital age, and you have one photo and a description to earn a click on an impression online to have a potential guest want to learn more about your property. Once they get to the landing page, they have 5 photos, those are your 5 key photos, to earn interest to look through all of your listing and then consider reserving your property versus the thousands of others that they're looking at online. And quite frankly, if your photos suck, they're not even going to click on your listing in the first place. They're gonna scroll right on by, even if you have a killer listing. Just remember, you're competing with thousands of other hosts and thousands of other listings, and you're competing for one click to earn somebody's interest over all of those other properties. So not only is the quality of the photos important, but this is also the order of the photos. Too many lazy hosts or lazy property managers will have the first 5 photos be different angles of the front door or the front yard of the property. This is one of the most detrimental mistakes that you can make. If somebody clicks on your listing, you want to have them see the top 5 key moments or wow factors that you have to offer. Because if it's just the first 5 photos, and let's say you have a hot tub, a game room, a gym, all these awesome things or amenities in your property, but they're the last 10 photos, they might not even get to the end of your photos because they lost interest by then. And if you had them in your first 5 photos, you may have earned their interest and they'd be like, man, I can't wait to book this property. Look at all this awesome stuff you have. So a pro host will not only have professional photography, but they will also keep in mind what order their photos need to be in order to attract more people to click and learn more about the property. Number 2, lazy hosts never update their listing after launching it, and a pro host actively tweaks their listing either week to week or at least month to month. The reason that this is important is that Airbnb and Vrbo and any other listing platform, they're constantly evolving platforms and technology. There's new features that are constantly added, and there's new amenities even that they add that your property may have, but maybe yesterday you weren't able to check that off as an amenity, and you need to check for these updates weekly, if not at least monthly, because the more amenities you check off and the more updates you do to your listing, Airbnb views that as more active management. And of course, if a guest is using a filter for, let's say, a hot tub and you did not have that checked off yesterday, guests are not going to find you on search results. So you have to make sure that everything that you actually have in your property is accurate on your listing on Airbnb. The real reason this hurts lazy hosts and really helps pro hosts is because the more impressions you have, meaning the more you show up on search results, and then the more clicks that your property gets, and then the more time someone spends on your listing and ultimately converts to a booking. All that statistical information or analytics is going to help you long-term rank consistently higher in search. So the less clicks you get, the less booking conversions you get. Airbnb recognizes this, and they're not going to promote you to people because they assume that people do not want to book your property. Now, the reason this hurts you is because it's going to get harder and harder to crawl back up in search ranking results. And it's like Google, it's no different when it comes to Airbnb search. Airbnb wants their travelers to stay on their platform as long as possible and to put exactly what they want to book in front of them as quickly as possible, so they don't go to Vrbo or Booking.com or a hotel to find what they're looking for. The reason you want to do this is so you consistently rank higher in Airbnb search results. The more impressions you have, the more clicks you get, and ultimately the more bookings you get and the positive reviews that you receive from travelers. All of those things together are going to help you rank higher in search. Now, if you don't rank higher in search, you're not going to get seen by travelers, so you're going to get fewer bookings long term. Number 3, and this is probably what separates the boys from the men as far as profitability and maximizing monthly cash flow, is pricing strategy. Lazy hosts do not use any type of dynamic pricing, and I see this all too often, especially in the big management companies that have been around for years. They just set their daily rate for the entire year, or maybe they have a different rate for the weekend and then they have a weekday rate, and they don't change it based on daily demand fluctuations. Pro hosts use and adopt dynamic pricing strategies, and the ones that I would recommend are either Price Labs or Wheelhouse. You're able to set a whole bunch of customizations, and you pair that with Price Labs or Wheelhouse scraping information and data and using some AI in some cases to dynamically change your pricing every single day based on demand for that day for your type of listing. Ultimately, this is going to help you maximize the daily rate you get for high demand days, and it will actually lower your prices for low demand days where ordinarily you probably wouldn't get booked at all. And again, the reason why this is so important is because the more you get booked where your pricing is right, it's going to help you rank higher in search, because Airbnb says guests want to book this listing at this price, and every time I put it in front of a traveler, they seem to book it. So dynamic pricing is going to help you guys make a ton more money. Number 4 is your guest guidebook. A lazy host probably doesn't even have a guidebook at all, or it's very basic, just on one piece of paper within the property, and it's static and never changes. While a pro host probably has a physical guidebook that's very detailed in the property, but more than likely they also have a digital guidebook that they can change on the fly. There's a lot of reasons that guidebooks are important, but honestly, the number one thing is to save time for hosts and to make the guest experience better and seamless for guests. If you use a digital guidebook such as Hostfully Digital Guidebooks, which is what I use in my properties, I'm able to have all the check-in information, all the check-out information. I can embed videos of how to use certain things throughout the property. And the reason this is important is because it eliminates a lot of unnecessary guest and host communication. I want to make this as passive as a business as I can. And if I don't use that guidebook, I'm going to continuously have guests ask me questions: how to check in, what's the code to get in, how do I use the TV, how do I use the hot tub, so on and so forth. So this is going to not only eliminate a ton of unnecessary communication and friction between guest and host, but it's going to make it a more passive source of income for you as the host. Point number 5 that differentiates a lazy host from a pro host is overall management, operations, and hospitality. Lazy hosts typically are slow to respond. Maybe they don't even address issues at all, and it creates that unnecessary friction with guests, and guests will ultimately leave hosts a negative review in spite of their interactions with them. Controversially, pro hosts are very quick to respond and usually respond to guest questions or issues within minutes, and then you go out of your way to address, maybe it's a cleanliness issue or a damaged item, as fast as humanly possible. And the reason why this is so important is because it's going to improve overall guest experience and satisfaction. And remember, we have to think with longevity in mind. How do I rank higher in Airbnb search long term? How do I get more bookings? How do I become more profitable long term? So this is what differentiates, again, lazy hosts from pro hosts who are super profitable, because the better experience you provide to guests, the higher quantity of 5-star reviews you're going to get. The higher quantity of 5-star reviews you get is not only going to help you rank higher in search, but guests associate positive reviews with quality. So the more 5-star reviews you have, they're probably going to be willing to spend more per night when they see that daily rate pop up. Think about it like restaurants. If you see a 3-star overall rating on a restaurant, you probably scroll right by and you don't even care to look at the menu. It's just this inherent thing that we have as a consumer in the back of our head. It's no different when it comes to Airbnb properties or hotels. People want to see a highest possible review rating, and they immediately associate value with that place. If you guys want to learn how to be a pro host and maximize your profitability and guest experience, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on all other social platforms at melefante6. And if you want to take it to the next level, I'll drop some more information below about BNB Investor Academy and how I've helped well over 1,000 people start and scale a profitable Airbnb business.